But that said, we're moving into the final topic of the day, and we have the CPT UK and Ireland event coming up. And what we wanted to do is take a look back at some of the historic players for Street Fighter V from this region, because we mention all the time it's one of our favorite regions in the CPT Street Fighter V scene, and they have a lot of history with Street Fighter V, and a lot of champions have heralded from this region. So looking back at it, it's always interesting to do this to kind of remind yourself how far Street Fighter V has come as a game and the generations of players that it's seen. One of the biggest names from UK, I mean, this goes way beyond just Street Fighter V, but this man has done work in this game as well. We gotta give a huge shout out to one of the legends, one of the greatest fighting game players of all time, bar none. And you just need to take a look. He has a whole Wikipedia page. The list goes on and on and on for his accolades. Ryan Hart. Ryan Hart is actually one of the best players from the UK, even to this day, I would argue, even though these days I believe he's living in Germany, so he's not competing in this CPT event. He's been competing in the Europe West event. Ryan Hart has been doing work in Street Fighter V for quite some time, and is one of the 2 qualifiers from the UK in the 2016 Capcom Cup, actually. One of the first professional players, one of the most winningest players of all time, an OG in the scene, and still doing work. Like, I love the fact that he was in the first Capcom Cup for Street Fighter V, but then just last year in 2021, he got 3rd in the Europe West event. Like, he went all the way to that top 3 position against people like Takamura and Momi, like, young guys in the scene who are actively playing. And, I don't want to say Ryan Hart is not active, but, he's not really entering every event like he used to be. But when he shows up and does work, he's such a threat.
But a person who is in his prime, I have to say, is none other than Problem X. He's in the conversation for UK GOAT. Actually, as far as Street Fighter V, he's not in the conversation. He is the #1 by far all time when it comes to that region. I mean, what hasn't this guy done? I remember early in Street Fighter V watching the Problem X and Punk rivalries, which even though they're amazing friends or whatever, but outside of just their friendship, I'm talking about just purely, in game. They don't have blow-ups and stuff, but they have blow-ups when it comes to their matches. It seemed like for whatever reason, every single tournament at some point, those guys were going to have to run into each other, and they always put on an amazing show. I also want to point out the fact that he's been the best Bison from the beginning, pretty much. And of course, we just recently seen what he did with Red Bull Kumite, but Problem X easily, man, the best player of all time when it comes to Street Fighter V from that region. And at some point, we got to start putting him in the conversation of all time in general when it comes to Street Fighter, just because of how amazing that he is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he was doing work in Street Fighter 4 as well. He was, people wouldn't put him as like the best player, but he was qualifying for Capcom Cup, doing work with Seth back in the day. He was one of my actual favorite players. I love Seth in Street Fighter 4. So early on, I remember watching a lot of Problem X gameplay. So he's been around for a minute now, and yeah, for Street Fighter 5, easily one of the greatest Street Fighter 5 players of all time. I mean, he's one of the few with an EVO Championship title. He just won Red Bull Kumite Vegas. It just keeps going. It doesn't stop. He's been in Capcom Cup since 2016. The only thing he hasn't earned is an online Capcom Cup qualification. That's the only title he's missing, plus Capcom Cup itself. So I am definitely hoping to see some Problem X online action and maybe a Capcom Cup title out of him. I would love to see him complete that, this Street Fighter V legacy with a title like that. But there's been a lot of other players in the history of Street Fighter V here. Problem X been around since the beginning and still doing work.
But there's someone that I got to make sure I bring up, and that is my Karen brethren. Another person with glasses, with melanin, who can dress to impress. None other than Dope Boy Pax. Bro, he is one of the most exciting players. His Karen always has been like one of the nicer Karens in the world when he's seriously active.
It's Cody too. He was one of the first people to pick up Cody and show how you could.
People weren't really sold on Cody yet. And he was like, he was
doing work. Definitely one of the cleanest players I feel like that we've seen from that region for sure. Another player I want to give a shout out. Maybe we can. I don't want to group them all together, but for some reason, there's a lot of Vega players, Vega specialists out in this region. We got the brothers, the Jester Power and the Joker Jokes. Yeah. They play with other characters as well.
That's the homies, bro. They cool as heck. That's some cool cats right there, bro.
They have some big wins under their belt. I feel like they're always kind of like, if you go to like an event in the UK, you got to watch out. Like you might get Vega, you might get clawed up by them for sure. Another one, Bolt Strike. Bolt Strike, not only Vega these days, he's definitely branched out. Maybe some people would say Vega held him back for quite some time, but Bolt Strike's been doing work for a long time in the UK scene.
When you're a doctor in real life, you can pick who you want, bro. Like I can't beat him in tournament.
Yeah, but
like,
you should be learned enough to maybe explore your options. That's what I would say.
They teach him that. They teach him that in a residency.
Right. But he's actually he's a guy I look to see who has the most Smurfs in the FGC as far as online accounts go. He has an account for every character. Yeah, he's one of those people. He's played every character under the sun. Actually, he could probably random select with the best of them for sure. So always a threat to go far in the CPT event, and has been doing work for quite some time.
Brian, as amazing as all those players are, we have to make sure we also bring up none other than Hurricane. I would say that he's been consistent throughout Street Fighter V, but I think that's kind of underselling it, to be honest. To me, at least from my viewpoint, he's had a steady, like a slowly but surely type of climb the whole time. I feel like his trajectory has only been upward going into this final season, bro. So I think it really came to a head in, well, I guess it's debatable where it came to a head. We've seen him do works in a lot of majors. He's beaten a lot of amazing players. But I feel like a lot of eyeballs were on him when Red Bull Kumite came over there to Europe, and he was selected as one of the players and showed exactly why he was one of those players selected, with a great performance and one of the most memorable sets with him versus Tokido to qualify for what I believe was whatever the phase 2 was, top 16.
Right, to get out of groups.
Yeah, to get out of the group stage. So Hurricane, definitely one of the better players ever from UK in Street Fighter V.
For sure. And of course, now we're getting into the people you know them and you love them, because they're our most recent qualifiers for the CPT season from 2021. Well, first, let's give a big shout out to Four Phils. The Four Phils repping the Falk, and that was at a time where no one was looking at this character. And he was the guy, I feel like, just behind Hurricane at that time. You saw them very, very steadily getting those top 8s, those top 4s, even like a top 1 finish here and there in the Salt Mine League, just always consistently represented in those weekly events and always grinding the game and getting results. But then it all came to a head in that 2021 CPT qualifier where he got the win. We expected Hurricane, we expected Problem X, maybe Infectious, but no, it was the Four Phils who actually got the win in the first event for the 2021 season and qualified and got the Capcom Cup. So definitely a big year for him, and I think since then, with some adjustments that have been made, I definitely expect a lot more for him out of this season.
As much fun as he's going to have with those new Falk adjustments, I don't know if he'll have as much fun going up against this next player I'm about to mention, the last player to win a CPT in the UK, none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Infectious. That guy is a beast, easily one of the best players ever from the UK. And I mean, right now, if I had to guess, he might be even the favorite going in. After the level of play that we saw, I can't forget just how he played in that grand finals. Of course, he's put on so many amazing showings, but the way that he played in that grand finals against Problem, busting out the Kin out of nowhere. Right. We know that he has the Luke. We know he has the, we know he has the Luke. Of course, he's known for his Zeku. So we've seen him show a lot of different characters. I feel like it's really interesting seeing like how he goes about his game, and he's definitely one of the best players ever in the UK.